What's up, everybody? It's Punk Rock Talk, episode 27. My guests today are The Hanging Judge. You're listening to The Hanging Judge. This song is called Not Alone. It's on our Spotify playlist, Rebellion Noise 2022. You can find that playlist on Spotify by searching the Havoc's page. Going there and then scrolling to the bottom, you'll see the playlist there. You can also just search for the playlist by name, Rebellion Noise 2022. Have you missed an old episode of Punk Rock Talk? Not to worry. You can find them on the Havoc's YouTube channel. If you have not yet, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel and tap the bell icon so that you are notified every time we publish new content. New episodes of Punk Rock Talk are uploaded to our YouTube channel every Thursday. So this episode will be uploaded tomorrow. This episode of Punk Rock Talk and every episode of Punk Rock Talk are brought to you by Dead and Buried Inc. Are you in a band? Do you need merchandise? They are your source. They can print t-shirts, patches, stickers, buttons, posters, whatever you need. That's Dead and Buried Inc. INC, not INK. You can find them here on Instagram at Dead and Buried Inc. or online at their website, deadandburiedinc.com. If you want Havoc merchandise, that's the place to find it. Again, deadandburiedinc.com. This episode of Punk Rock Talk is also brought to you by Rebellion Noise Records and 40 Ounce Booking. There's a lot in the works right now with Rebellion Noise Records. We have a new compilation coming out called Punk Rock Attack Volume 1. Some great bands are on there, all of which have been interviewed here on Punk Rock Talk. And Bill Johnson of 40 Ounce Booking is working very hard behind the scenes, not only for 40 Fest happening January 2023, but also here on Punk Rock Talk. If you would like to be on Punk Rock Talk, Bill Johnson of 40 Ounce Booking is who you need to reach out to. Okay, before I invite my guest, real quickly here, I would just like to talk about something really important that I mentioned every week for the past couple of weeks here on Punk Rock Talk. There is a GoFundMe for Brittany of Oil Change. She's going to be having heart surgery at an undetermined date. So far, all the news that I have seen has been relatively positive, but we're still waiting for more information. But the surgery is inevitable. So, if you would like to donate to her GoFundMe page, you can find the link on Oil Change's Instagram page in their bio section. Having said that, if you have questions for myself or the Hanging Judge during this episode, tap the question mark icon on your screen to submit your questions. Please don't put them in the comment section. This is going to be a quicker episode today. Those guys are on a little bit of a time constraint. So this is not going to be the normal full hour. So if you have questions for myself or the Hanging Judge, go ahead and submit them now because we're going to be getting to them relatively quickly. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and invite our guests here. Okay, invitation has been sent, so hopefully they'll be joining. There they are. What's up, guys?
What's up?
How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. How about you?
Doing awesome. Excited to talk with you guys, especially because I was surprised today, about an hour ago, when I received a direct message from you saying, hey, we've got a new record coming out, and here's a sneak peek. So that was a pleasant surprise for me. I had the opportunity to listen to a few songs, which I really enjoyed.
Awesome.
Nice. Glad you enjoyed it.
And it was cool to see that one of the songs, I have not had a chance to look at the full track listing or listen to all of them, but one of them I recognized as an older song that you had re-recorded, which I think is really fucking cool because I like the song a lot. So I do want to talk more about that in a minute, but first, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, what you do in the band, and where the band is from.
Okay. You want to start?
I'm Richard. I bitch and moan vocals.
I'm Cheeto. I play guitar and I do some backup vocals.
That's the first time I've ever heard a vocalist announce themselves as what they do is bitch and moan. I think it's pretty fucking funny. One thing that I like about your band, you can call it bitching and moaning if you want, but to me, it seems pretty obvious by the songs that you're definitely passionate about what you're singing about. And that's so awesome that honesty comes through, because sometimes that's hard to find in bands.
Yeah.
We live in. There's a lot of motivation out there, for sure.
Absolutely. I think there's always, that motivation, kind of regardless of what era you're living in. But right now, it seems like there's just an abundance of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you guys are from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, yep.
Correct.
Yeah. Will you tell me about kind of your history in the scene as individuals and what led you to forming this band?
Well, I've just been kind of, putting around Atlanta for, 25 years, maybe. Going to shows since I was, a kid. So, I've played in various bands over the years. And, Cheeto and I kind of linked up like several years ago. We always talked about doing a band. Well, I was busy with Antagonizers and all the other bands I was doing at that point in time. And then we had a lull for a minute. So we just kind of, him and this guy, Austin, awesome dude. They approached me with some couple of ideas they had. And I'd say they gave me music. I think 10 minutes I'd written lyrics for both of them.
Yeah, it came together surprisingly quick. We had one song, and then we were already being asked to do a 5-song EP. We're like, shit, we don't even.
We didn't even have anything to record other than 2 little ideas. So we wrote that first EP. We literally wrote that in a weekend.
Yeah, and recorded it in the basement. So
so it was meant to be, a demo, just a kind of demo to see how it sounded. And I gave my singer Boat Iron a track, and he called me back, I think probably later that evening, says, well, someone's interested in putting this out. But we just kind of went from there, and it just kind of whirlwind into it. The Hanging Judge, as a matter of fact, is literally the first name that we threw to the wall. It just kind of seemed fitting for all of this.
Yeah, so he's been here for years. I actually moved up here from Florida about 10 years ago, and I played in a few different bands. DDC, I played in the Carry-Ons, and eventually, after the Hanging Judge, I played bass in the Queers for a little over 5 years. But about 5 years ago, we started this project. We've always talked about it, but it finally came to fruition, and it's kind of been a slow process, slower than other bands, but I think I don't know. I feel like the chemistry's there, so
Yeah, good things are worth waiting for.
That's true. Yeah, I noticed that on Spotify, there's just the one release, which
Yeah.
came out in 2017. So my first thought was, they haven't put anything out in like 5 years. I wonder if COVID had something to do with that.
I had to do with he's an antagonizers, and I played in the Queers, and we're, if you know anything about the Queers, they're constantly on tour. I think they probably play more than any other band out there. But so that had a lot to do with it, just time constraints and everything. But I mean, we've been working on the album, and it's just a slow process because we're so busy, with life. So
I can totally relate to that. I know exactly what that's like. With the few tracks that I did get to listen to, it was apparent that there is a step up in production value compared to the first release.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, I thought it sounded really good. And one of the songs that you redid is called Emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I like the one from the first release, the self-titled release, but this one definitely feels a little bit more energetic. I don't know if you guys upped the tempo a little. I kind of suspected maybe that you did.
Yeah.
And the vocals too. It just feels like there's more momentum with that version.
Yeah. Joe Queer does great work when recording, and he really got the most out of what we could do with those sessions. We boosted up song tempos. We tried some different things, simplified a few parts. Changed a little bit here and there, and then that's what we've come up with.
Yeah, it's just nice being able to take the time. When we recorded that EP, we did it in a weekend. We did it at a punk house in a living room. There's dogs running around. It's just very rushed, very quick. And with this, we really took our time and got to try out a few different things. So
Yeah, I think kind of having this access now to digital recording technology, you can listen back to things and make decisions so much quicker now. And if something's not working, it's easier to say, oh, well, okay, let's change this.
mm-hmm.
But I didn't necessarily get the impression that you guys are, that the songs were done fully digital.
Huh. Well, that's a good thing because they are fully digital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because the guitar tones, that's usually kind of the telltale sign for me.
Right.
If the guitar tones, I don't know, it seems like with digital, sometimes they just seem thin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But with what I was hearing, I was like, okay, there's definitely a fullness to the guitar tone here. So it's cool that you guys achieved that, by doing it all digital.
Yeah. I mean, we did use tube amps, of course, but it's all ran through Pro Tools. I've been wanting to use a Kemper a time or two, and because those things are so close, you just really can't tell.
Yeah.
But the nice thing was we were able to layer guitar on top of guitar to kind of get that sound.
That main riff. I actually I used it. I played an octave down and recorded that too. We actually the label that put us out, they gave a copy of our EP to Maximum Rock and Roll, and that was it. Yeah, they.
Well, Maximum Rock and Roll is for their shitty fucking reviews.
But you know what?
Rock and Roll.
If you're getting a bad review from MRR, then you're doing something right. So.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, they were talking shit about how shrill the guitars were, and I mean,
we're not all rich like those fuckers.
Right.
We're not all fucking trust fund babies.
I want to take a moment to address the audience here. As I said earlier during the intro, this is going to be a shorter episode. There is a little bit of a time crunch. So we are going to be getting to the live Q&A session earlier than usual. So if you have a question for myself or the hanging judge, Go ahead and submit that now by tapping that question mark icon on your screen. Don't put them in the comments section. Tap that question mark and put it there. We're going to get to them in just a few minutes. Could you tell me where the name came from? What does the hanging judge mean?
Well, the hanging judge is for lack of a better description, it's basically, the hanging judge is someone that's just hard and known for putting people to the screws. So basically, the original idea was to have a judge hanging on a noose. So you just kind of turn it on its ear, and it just kind of stuck. It's mainly the main thing that I get out of the hanging judge is we're all so rough on each other as people nowadays. I mean, there is no, we're all fucking dicks to each other, and we all hang each other. So honestly, at the end of the day, that's exactly what that's all about. Is we're hanging ourselves when we judge everyone around us.
And we're quick to judge everybody as well.
Yeah, I think that social media has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can look back at the history of mankind, and I think that we've always been pretty cruel to each other in one way or another.
Absolutely. So much more so these days.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It just seems like it has been amplified to quite the extreme because, social media makes people appear as passive or disposable because, like, let's take dating apps for instance. Everyone's just a swipe away, and like if you don't like this person, you just swipe away, and that's it. They're out of there, and then you're on to the next one. And there's this endless pool of candidates, and as a result, people just have no interest in staying in something committed because the next option is just a swipe away.
Right, exactly.
Right. Well, it's that instant gratification that everybody craves these days.
Yeah, dopamine.
Yep. And I hate to say this, but I think that it applies to bands as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
Which is why I think it's even more important that if you are a band, that you have something worth saying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Like I said, we are in a bit of a time crunch, so we're going to get to the live Q&A sooner than normal. So this is your last opportunity if you're watching right now. Go ahead and submit your questions by tapping that question mark on your device to put your question there. I'm going to go ahead and start the live Q&A. First question comes from our good friend Bill Johnson. Subvert 007. How did you get the name Cheeto again?
Hey, putting you to the screws, buddy.
Yeah. With the queers, everyone in the band has a nickname. Drummer, he's called Hogwog. So, Cheeto is not as bad as Hogwog. But, the first tour I did with them, they were just like, well, we got to come up with something. And I guess because I eat horror, at that time I did anyway. So it's just kind of stuck. Eating freaking hot Cheetos at 3 a.m. Cheetos like, that's what we're going to call you.
There are definitely worse names you could be called.
Yeah. Exactly.
Next question. This question comes from Holland Coast. Does the Hanging Judge have any upcoming shows or tours?
Yes, we actually have an upcoming show August 20th. We're playing with Soda City Riot from South Carolina. We just did a split with them. It's coming out. It's actually out now on Pro Rock Records. Each band released 3 songs. So that's out now at prorock.com. And we're doing a little release show in Stockbridge, Georgia, August 20th at Smokin' Q's. Smokin' Q's, yeah. It's a newer place. Yeah, it's a newer place, but it should be fun. So and it's not too far, I don't think.
this show's already been announced, but I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit about it while we have the audience's attention. You're playing 40 Fest next year.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm really excited for next year's 40 Fest because the lineup is awesome. And I can't wait to meet all of these people in person. You know, I've been doing Punk Rock Talk since the beginning of the year and had a lot of guests on here, many of which are playing, but I've never met them in person. So it's going to be a great opportunity for me to meet you guys, and I can't wait to see you play too.
Yeah, last year was such a blast. It was just kind of a whirlwind, so you're definitely in for a good time. Bill knows how to throw down, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's great just having so many people, you know, out from around the country. Last time it was Billy Bats that ended up throwing down the gauntlet, though.
Good
I mean,
Lord, that big.
they had what's his name from Crum Bums. All those guys are tripping over themselves. What the fuck is going on?
I mean, yeah, those kids are so talented.
Yeah, they're very precise, very fucking energetic. Great band, Billy Bats and the Made Men. Did for the show previous, so yeah.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of interviewing them last week. Super cool guys. And I love their perspective on things, you know, because they're coming from like the Zoomer generation.
Yeah.
But they have such an appreciation for the same shit that I appreciate, you know, that's coming from the 80s and the 90s. And I just think it's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's I was talking to someone earlier about how a lot of the new kids don't even really know the old band.
Yeah.
See how the gap is got over the years.
But it's so easy to discover those old bands too. You could just throw, you know, pull up Wikipedia. I remember back, you know, you had to actually look at the liner notes. Oh, what T-shirts that dude wear? And like you really had to research to try to find new music back in the day. But
now it's crazy.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, I remember when I was getting into the punk scene at the age of 13, 14 years old, you know, like the surface level stuff wasn't too difficult to find. Back then, you know, there were record stores were pretty common.
yeah,
And then there were media stores, like we had one here in Oklahoma City called Hastings, and you could rent movies there. You could buy books there, but they also had a huge music section with CDs, new and used. So I found a lot of stuff, you know, like the Sex Pistols and the Clash and Misfits and all that shit there. But once I started kind of getting deeper, it really was that thing where you had to dig.
yeah, definitely. You had to do your research for sure.
Yeah. Whereas now it's, you know, like you said, you can just access Wikipedia or even just the band's Instagram account. And then, you know, the individual members, you can see, you know, how they spent their weekend.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. It goes a little bit back to that thing of like, well, it's not quite so special now. You know, like bands that I really liked when I was a teenager, you know, I was waiting for the moment that they were going to be, you know, on the cover of some magazine or they were going to be in some punk zine or whatever. Because you just never knew when you were going to have that opportunity to get more exposure of your favorite bands.
Right.
Again, if you're out there in the audience and you have questions for myself or the hanging judge, I'm going to give you one last opportunity to submit those before we wrap it up. Let's talk for a second about what's kind of on the horizon, you know, with the new record. When is that supposed to come out? Do you guys have a release date or anything?
Yes, we have our debut album coming out. It's a 12-track album, and it's been a long time in the making. It's actually being Lake Town Records in Germany. Talking about, you know, their U.S. partner, so we're still kind of getting, you know, that together. But it should be later this year, early next year.
Yeah, with the backup and everything, production and everything, it's slow going, but
that's what really
I'm
us.
seeing we're seeing stuff that has been recorded 2 years ago just coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a waiting game, but we're just stoked that someone picked it up and was willing to put it out for us. So.
Yeah, we're super proud of it too. We took our time with it. We rushed the EP, so we were able to really take our time with this. So yeah, we're happy about it.
Very cool. I do have a question submitted from the audience, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. Okay, this also comes from Hollenkos. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Says, you just had a 3-day tour in Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo supporting the Antagonizers. How did it go?
Went really well. We haven't really got to go up north yet, so that was our first time kind of really going north of the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get back again this, sometime this fall, this winter, maybe if not early next year. We're planning on, vamping things up and being a little bit more active in the upcoming year.
Right. Yeah, we played with the Hub City Stompers in Buffalo, and we had 2 shows with the Antagonizers in Detroit and Cleveland the previous day. So previous days, it was cool. We got to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and just kind of, just.
Okay, I am seeing the pinwheel of death on their screen right now. So hopefully they are going to be joining us again here in a second. I'll give it a minute or so. Having said that, I hope all of you out there have been having a good week so far. Okay, they left. So I'm sure they're going to send a request to join again. And then we'll get them back on here and talk for a few more minutes before we have to wrap this up. There it is. I'm not sure if there's a connection issue on their end or what the problem is, but
Oh yeah, there we are.
There we go. I'm not sure what happened. I saw the pinwheel of death going and it just froze. So
flash of lightning, and then it just took out the iPad we were on. So I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. Speaking of touring, you both mentioned that you've been in various bands over the years.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't your first go with things. What would you say is your favorite part of touring after all these years of being out there and doing it?
For me personally, it's being on stage. No doubt about it. Being up there sweating, exerting energy. That's number one for me. I mean, one thing about touring is it's a lot of hurry up and wait, and I hate waiting. So, best thing for me is just to get in there and dig in. For me, that's seeing things that you don't normally get to see. As a matter of fact, I'm going to fucking England tomorrow. So that's one thing I'd never be able to do on my own.
Playing with Patriot at Rebellion, right?
Yeah. I mean, this has afforded me to a lot of things that I would never ever be able to do otherwise. So I am thankful for the experiences it's given me to be on the road. With all the bad, there's so much good. It just makes it worth it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because I always wanted to tour and be in a band growing up, but with the Queers, like I said earlier, we tour more than any other band I've ever seen. But with that, I've gotten to meet some really great people. I have friends all around the world. I've gotten to go to Japan and Russia and just places I never actually thought I'd be able to go, especially playing music. So it's been a lot of fun, but it gives us, in the Hanging Judge, it kind of gives us a little more direction for the guys in our band that haven't really toured as much. So we can kind of get things kind of go. You know how it is when you're new to a band and like new to playing. But yeah, I'd say that my favorite part about it is just making friends and meeting people around the world and just kind of making connections. I think that's the best thing about it all.
Awesome. How are we doing on time on your
I
end?
got a few more minutes. I have a load in. I'm playing with Adolf and the Piss Artists in Sheer Terror tonight, so I got a load in, but I've got a few more minutes.
Okay. With that in mind, we have a couple more audience questions. This person seems to be a very big fan. Again, it comes from Holland Koss. Richard, you have always been a guitar player. What inspired you to front a band? Did you ever see yourself as a front man?
Honestly, I still don't. Really, honestly, I've always, kind of enjoyed singing in my spare time, and I'm more of a fan of those bands that have just the dedicated front man as opposed to the guitar player front man. For me, it's a little more enjoyable. So I just, I wanted to put down the guitar and try something different. No, I've never really been much into singing, like out and about, which is still kind of a new thing for me, believe it or not, after all these years.
Minus this Def Leppard tribute band.
But just trying to do something to get outside of my comfort zone was really what made me approach singing. I'm not really all that good with being super forward and stuff, so I figured it was a good way to get out of my shell. I'm a bit more of a, stand in the corner, quiet kind of guy usually.
Yeah, I know that feeling too. After I stopped playing an instrument and doing vocals at the same time and just focus on being lead vocals, like I never really wanted to go back.
Right.
Because your attention is split. And to me, it's like I would rather focus on one thing and give my all to that part of the performance.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I like doing multiple projects is because I get to do all kinds of different things. I'm currently doing 4 bands right now. Just fill-in slots for some, but got APA starting to play shows again, so that's going to be resurrected probably. So we'll be doing more. So and I got the Judge and Antagonizer, so I've got pretty lucky.
Yeah, your plate sounds like it's full.
Yeah, there's always room for more.
Okay, one more audience question. It says, Richard, what other bands do you play in aside? Oh, we just answered that.
Yeah. Antagonizers, ATO,
Okay.
Adolf, Piss Artists, and the Hanging Judge. And then, I do fill in slots here and there.
Well, before I let you guys go, I wanted to ask if you had any shout outs that you'd like to give.
I'd like to give a shout out to Bodon and Dirty South Booking for all that they've done. Bill Johnston for all that he's done.
No, I was gonna say Bill Johnston, 40-ounce booking. He's really put his all into this. He's done some great shows. 40 Fest. He's real passionate about it. So, I'm definitely happy that things are coming to fruition. And he's kind of seeing that vision come alive. So that's awesome. So yeah, that's my shout out to Bill.
Awesome. If people want to find your music or merchandise, where is the best place for them to do that?
Well, we have our new split on prorock.com right now with Soda City Riot, which they're great too. Check them out. They're from South Carolina. Columbia?
Yeah, they're somewhere in there.
Yeah, but we don't have anything up at the moment. We've been putting all our energy into getting this album out. So, everything that we have is the EP, and that's on Spotify, Apple Music, all the usual spots.
What about merchandise?
Oh, yeah, merchandise. Yeah, well, I'm about to put up a link to our store. So we actually have a lot of new stuff.
What is the link going to be?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I will share it when we have it. We actually have a huge run of merch that we just put out, so yeah, we'll share it. We'll share it on our page here shortly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being my guest on Punk Rock Talk, and Yeah, of course. Would you like to announce who next week's guest is going to be for us?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're going to be having Jay Crash and Terminus Hate City next week.
Yep.
If you are not familiar with Terminus Hate City, you should look them up on Instagram. It's a record label based out of Atlanta, and they release a lot of metal stuff, which I'm a huge fan of.
Me too.
If you're familiar with me and this show, it's no secret that I am a massive metalhead. So you might be asking yourself, why Terminus Hate City on Punk Rock Talk? There is a reason, which we are going to reveal next week on Punk Rock Talk.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again so much for being my guests. And I can't wait to meet you guys at 40 Fest next year and to watch you guys rip that shit, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Man, thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thanks, everybody,
my pleasure.
for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
All right, everybody. To play us out, this is Not Alone by The Hanging Judge. Until next time, we'll see you later. Out of here.
There.
Right.